Hey everyone, thanks for watching Bridgeport's Brightest Lights, and today in this video, I'm going to be showing you the behind the scenes of the light show. So, let's get started. Now before you go laughing and make all fun of my hat and stuff, it's cold out. Let me show you how cold out it is. So does this explain how cold out it is? You can't really see it, but you know what's coming down if you're in the north. You can even see there's some of it up here on the projector box. I'm going to go back into the garage now so I don't get the stuff on my phone. And the stuff that I'm referring to, you people in the north know what it is. But for the people in the south who do not know what this white stuff is, this stuff is actually called snow. And how you get snow is when rain freezes. So snow is basically frozen rain. So when you live up north, and I live in New York, so we get a lot of it, the rain freezes because the temperature goes below 32 degrees, and you get this white stuff, which is called snow. So hopefully all of the people in the south, you now know what this stuff is. So that's the reason I'm wearing this hat, but just to make this a little more serious, I'll take it off. There. Hopefully my hair doesn't look bad now. So yes, I'm going to be showing you the behind the scenes of the light show. There's some new stuff that wasn't here for Halloween. I did one for Halloween. For the Halloween one, I went over the complete basics, basically about talking how the controller works. This time, I'm going to explain it more advanced. I'm going to assume that you have a little bit of understanding of how all of this works and know a little bit about the controllers and stuff. So I can make this a little quicker because there is a lot to show. And as you saw, it's snowing outside, so I don't want to be outside for that long. And the reason I haven't made this before is I've been really busy, and it's been snowing for a while, so I have to do it today. So just a little information about the light show. There is 2 controller boxes for the Halloween one. There was only one. This is the main one in here, and then that was it for the Halloween light show. For the Christmas one, it's the main one in here, and then there's one out by the tree, and I'll show you that later. All of the lights, there is 4,071 lights, I think. If I'm wrong, put it on the screen, but I know it's around 4,000. So all the lights together, they take just under or around 7 amps when on all white. So that's about the same as a running microwave, but I think they might be a little less because I decreased the brightness. So I did show most of this already. There is one thing that changed in here, but if you haven't seen the Halloween one, I'll link it up here on the screen somewhere. But I'll just run through everything quickly again. This is a sub panel. This is not our main panel. The reason why this is out here is because the lights, since they don't take a ton of electricity, but they were on the same breaker as our kitchen and a bedroom, so we popped the breaker one time last year. So we installed this sub panel. It's connected to a 50 amp breaker in our main panel that used to go to a oven, but we don't have an electric oven anymore. We got a gas oven. So we have 2 20 amp breakers. This one to the right goes to the garage lights, the garage door right here, and another outlet out over there, and then this outlet right over here. This first 20 amp breaker goes to this outlet only. So this is all on its own breaker, so I can use up to 20 amps of lights. So there shouldn't be a huge problem there. There are 2 smart plugs here, so these can turn on and off the controllers when the show is about to start, before it starts, and when it's done running, it'll turn them off. The reason I have 2 is because they're only rated for 10 amps max, and I haven't used 10 amps, but I didn't want to get anywhere close to that and damage these, so I got 2. They only cost like 10 bucks on Amazon. I can control them from my phone, from my Alexa, and I have them on a schedule. So this first one powers all the lights, the projector box, so everything except the tree and the star. This one goes directly to just the tree and the star, and the controller box out here goes to this extension cord. Now if you saw the Halloween behind the scenes, there was a big mess here. There was no cable management at all, but I have fixed some of that. So the electricity comes in here. I need a Ethernet signal for everything out here. It could run on Wi-Fi, but last year I had some problems with that since it's a little ways away from our router. I lost signal one time, so we put a network switch out here and this white Ethernet cable It goes into a little wall up here, then goes up there and into our attic, then into the living room where the router is and plugs into the back of the router. This network switch has the main controller, this Raspberry Pi, and a Raspberry Pi in the projector box. So let me show you everything a little bit better up close. Okay, so here's a closer look at everything. All the controllers are right here. Sorry for the shadow, this is just the camera. I'm gonna try and find the right angle so you don't see the shadow, but so first we have the network switch like I showed you. Everything comes and plugs in here. We have Ethernet cables here. I tried to zip tie everything together so it didn't make a big mess. Basically everything up here is the exact same as it was for Halloween light show. We have a CZE-05B FM transmitter here. It's set for low power, and even on low power it goes a very long distance. It's set for the radio station 90.7, which is ours. We have the Raspberry Pi 4, 2 gigabytes of RAM, I think, maybe 1. It's either 2 or 1. And it is powered right here with a Raspberry Pi power supply, which is this plug right here. Then it has a Sound Blaster Play 3 going through an audio cable to the transmitter. The Raspberry Pi is set to a volume of 79. So I've heard that 79 is the highest volume that you can get without clipping, and it's the best. So that's what I used. Everything comes down here into the controller box. Now you'll see there's a few things new, and I'll show you a little bit more details about that in a second. This one plug here used to be plugged in to this plug. This goes to the projector box, but now I've just plugged it into here, and now this orange cord goes to the tree. I have an Ethernet cable right here which goes to the controller, and this is all power cords. This is a network switch, the network switch power cord for the transmitter, like I said, the projector box, and the Raspberry Pi. Now down here, for the Halloween light show, there was only one power supply, but now there are two. I'm not sure where you can see it. I would turn on my light, but it's so cold, it's not turning on here for some reason, this light right here. So the yellow Ethernet cable comes down right here, under there, up into here, and is plugged into here. This is a different Ethernet cable that I'll tell you about in a second. So the controller gets the main data here. This is the F16 V3. There is it is the version V1.03. I think it has software V2.56. I think that's it. If there was an update, I'm not sure of it, and I haven't updated it yet, but that's just what it runs on. And the reason there's two power supplies here is because for the Halloween light show, it took like 24 amps on all white. These are rated for 29 amps, but no higher than 23 amps for a long period of time. So it was very close to the limit. So when we added about 1,000 pixels to the one power supply, because everything else is on a different one outside, which I'll show you in a second, it would overload this. So we have two here. And now I was trying to figure out how we're going to power the board, because we had a lot of problems with this. You can't run it all off of one side, because if you do, it's going to be taking so much electricity from here, so power injection will be hard, because you have to power inject from another power supply, and when you do, you have to cut the positive wire. There was a lot of problems with it, but then I remembered that the other half of the board can be powered by a different power supply. So, the way the lights work is when you power inject, if you have the power injection wires on the same power supply, you don't have to cut the positive wire, I've heard. What most people have said is, you don't need to, it will be fine. So if I was to have some of the lights on this one and some of the lights on the second one back there, you have to cut the positive wire, so it doesn't backfeed into the other power supply. So basically what I did was, all of the lights that plug into this half of the board, because pixel ports 9 to 16, they're powered by this power jack, and 1 to 8 is powered on this power jack. This power jack is powered by this power supply. This jack is powered by the power supply behind it. So any of the lights on this half, which goes to this jack, which goes to the back power supply, the power injections are on the back power supply. Anything that's plugged into here goes to this jack, which is on this power supply, so all the power injection wires are hooked up here. So that makes it so I don't need to cut any of the positive wires. and we had to figure out where we should put them, but basically it's equaled out. So each power supply is taking about 20 to 23 amps. I'm not quite sure. But next year, we'll probably have to add a second controller box in here if we do plan on expanding, because we'll need another power supply. And you can only fit 2 in one box. The way I have 2 in here is with these wired watts brackets. They hold 2 power supplies, and they're really helpful. I got some a while ago, but the holes weren't positioned right, so the power supply was a little farther out, and it wouldn't allow me to shut the box. So I contacted Ken from Wired Watts, and he sent me some new ones free of charge, and they work a lot better. So if you do need 2 power supplies and you don't want to add a second box, I'd highly recommend these brackets from Wired Watts. Very helpful. Wired Watts did not sponsor this video. I'm just saying this. So don't go thinking they sponsored me. Right now, none of the power is on because the smart plugs are off, but I will turn on power now. So this one's going to turn on everything out here. And then this one is going to turn on the tree. So none of the lights will turn on because they're not being tested. They're not in test mode, obviously. So the way the power supplies are powered is by an extension cord, which comes around right here and plugs up into there. I only have one because you only need 1 power cord to power 2. But if you have more than 2, you should probably have at least 2 power cords. And what I did was, I'm not sure where you can see it, but I don't want to touch it because I'll get electrocuted. I have the power wires coming in the back behind this green, white, and black wire. Those ones right there are on the second one. So I have it plugged into there. Then I have 3 wires coming in from that power supply to this one. So it powers both of them. And it has worked fine. So this yellow Ethernet cord comes up to this top RJ45 connector. They look like Ethernet ports, and Ethernet cords fit in them, but these are not for an Ethernet signal. If you hook anything that takes an Ethernet, like a computer, a Raspberry Pi, actually into these ones, you could break the board. So do not plug this, for example, into a network switch or into a Raspberry Pi. The network switch or Raspberry Pi plugs into these top 2 Ethernet ports, which are made for an Ethernet signal. These send out different signals. So this goes to 2 smart differential receivers, and the way this Ethernet port works is you can run up to 3 smart receivers off of it. I think you might be able to do 4 now with the new boards. I'm not sure, but when you have differential receivers on here, it turns off these 4 ports, or 4 ports that you select. But I have them selected to turn off these 4. But these pixel ports, basically their data is just being sent out to here. So the tree is technically plugged into these 4 ports, just through a differential receiver up to here. Now, as you may have guessed, these are 12-volt power supplies. All my pixels are 12 volts. I don't have any 5-volt pixels. And I have 6 things plugged in there. They all come out of this box, down into this wire. I also have power injection wires here, so you'll see these little things. These have fuses in them. The power injection wires just screw into right there. They come down here. I have some the ports plugged in. I have these labels from Wired Watts. Like I said, not a sponsor, but the labels are very helpful, so I recommend you get those. They're only like $1 or something. I have a ton of data boosters throughout the show because I'm using this controller. Next year, we hope to be able to upgrade to the F48. Because if you use the F48, you don't have to have wires going out to everything. Like, the longest wire here is 65 feet, which is really long, so that has data boosters. But if you have the F48 and use differential receivers, that'd be a lot easier. But like I said, you have the data cords coming down. Most of them have a data booster in them. This is the same yellow Ethernet cable as in there. These 2 power cords are for the box, for the projector box, and for the box by the tree. This Ethernet cord is for the projector box, so the Raspberry Pi out there can have an Ethernet cord. It just goes through there, up into there, and then all the wires come down out here. There's a little rock on there, that copper wire up there, that is for the sub panel, so it's grounded. It all comes out there, and then to the outside world, which I'm now going to show you. So I'm going to put my hat back on, and then I'm going to show you everything outside, but we have to make it quick because as you saw, it's snowing. Okay, so I'm going to go out and show you all the lights, and hopefully my camera or microphone right here doesn't break because of the snow. So we got to make this quick. But all of the wires come out right here, kind of like in the Halloween light show, like I told you. There used to only be 2 wires here, but now there are 4. They go up here. 2 of them go this direction. This one black cord is a cable for like internet signal and stuff. But the other 2 go over here. The 2 that come over here come right up there. You can see the pigtails, and that's for our roof line up there, like we had in the Halloween light show. The other 2 come up here to these singing faces. So everything that was in the Christmas light or in the Halloween light show, I'm not gonna explain that much because you know what it is. But these singing faces are the 36-inch singing faces from BOSCOYO Studio, not a sponsor. And now before I continue on with the video, I'm sorry if it's all choppy and stuff. There's so many cars that are coming by right now and they're being very annoying. And they're so loud, so I have to cut them out every time and start over. So if it's choppy, I'm sorry. But now back to where we were. They take, I think, 246 pixels. They have holes in them for you to punch the pixels. There's a data booster up there to boost the data for them because it goes a long ways. It might not actually be a long ways you might think, but it kind of is for the pixels. Then I have a second one here and a third one there. These are the decor ones. This one's blue, that one's green, that one's red. Now the way we got them up there, let me come back here to show you, is we built a little frame for them because they have spots to attach like metal poles to them or PVC pipe. We zip tied it through the holes and we built a frame. Then we put 50-pound sandbags on top of them, and that actually holds them down really good. They have not moved at all, so I think they're gonna be good for this year. And that way nothing has to be permanent because we don't really want to damage the roof. So we did not come up with this idea for this. Greg Brewster from Lights on Jacob Lane, I'll put a little link to his channel up there. If you've seen my other videos, you heard me talk about him. He's a light show that's a little ways away from me. He's about 30 minutes away from me. He's helped me a lot with this light show, and in every behind the scenes video, he always has something in the light show that couldn't have happened without him. So these singing faces could not happen without Lights on Jacob Lane. So thank you to him for giving us the idea to keep them up here. Go check out his channel, like I said. And all of the roof lights, those lights were once his on his house, but when he had to end his light show due to traffic, he gave all the lights to me, and then he also gave me a regular Christmas light tree that we did something else with. We put those at my grandma's house, so she has some Christmas lights. They don't really dance or anything, but that's how we got the singing faces up there with the sandbags. And then, I'm not sure where you can see it, but there's a little mount up there. You can see the zip ties on the front, maybe, that hold it, the mount to it. And that's the singing faces. And then, like I said, all the wires come out right here for the, for every other prop. You have Ethernet cables, pixel data cables, power cables. The first cable comes right out into this floodlight. This is a 10-watt floodlight, and it is actually broken because the green LED in it always stays on very dim for some reason, even when there's power to it and there's no data going to it. But it still works though. It turns on the right color. You can't even notice it when all the other lights are on. So I just left it because I can't buy a new one because everything is out of stock right now at Wired Watts and everywhere you buy pixels from. And I also bought one with a stake, so it's staked into the ground right there. It then comes out, goes to this window with the pixels in it. I've showed you this already for the Halloween one. Comes out, goes to this window with strip. That's the end of a port. Starts a new port, and it comes right there. Then goes up and around out there. Then it comes up to this window, goes through this entire window, comes out to this other floodlight. This floodlight is not broken, and it's the same one. It's a 10-watt. But it is a little bit dimmer than the other one because there's more pixels on this port. So this port technically might need a little bit of power injection, but we haven't done anything. We ran out of wire, so it's fine. It's just slightly dimmer. Now this thing cannot send data that far, so we had to put a data booster to get it to go from there to this window. So because if we didn't, this window flickered And it might have been just something to do with not having enough power, but we're not sure. It then goes around this window and ends right there. And then you have a power and Ethernet cable coming to the tree over here. And this is the tree. It has guy wires staked on it, and we have caution tape on it so we don't slip or hit the wire. This tree was a little bit of a hassle trying to get up. So what it is on the inside, it's nothing fancy like a A-strap pole or an A-sap pole, I think it's called, where you have the strap in the pole. It's not like that. We had to lift it up. What it is fence post. This is actually probably the same post that's on this fence. This is just a lot older. This is the kind we got. It only comes in 10-foot sections though. This tree is a little less than 12 feet tall with a 3-foot star on it. So we got 2 pieces. We cut them to an equal length, and then we put a bolt in them right here so it's easy to take down for storage. These 2 wires coming up go to the star, which I'll show you in a minute. And this tree is a 24 strand, 180-degree tree, as you see. And each strand has 73 pixels on it. So it's a total of just under 2,000 pixels. When you add the star, that makes it over 2,000 pixels. So this tree runs on 6 ports. So you have it starts there, goes up the tree, back down, up, then back down, and then you have power injection at the end. Only 1 power injection. All of it's run at 30%. Then you repeat that 6 times. The star is on its own port. Then you have PVC pipe down here where all the zip ties, or where all the strips are zip tied to, right here. And then the pipe also has stakes on it, so the pipe can stay staked into the ground and doesn't get lifted up. The base is, I think, 10 feet. Yes, it is 10 foot across. It's cut so it lays here and it can be taken apart into 2 poles. These are 4x4s and they're 10 feet long each. And surprisingly, the poles or the wood is not staked down at all, and it has not moved, it has not wiggled. It's perfectly strong. We are on a little bit uneven ground, so I had to put a board underneath there. This board right here holds the controller box. Then all the way at the top, I really can't point my camera up here because it's snowing so hard, but we have a 1632 ring up there, and then we have S hooks which hold the strips up there. So since it's only meant for 16 strips, if it's a 180-degree tree, we had to put 1 strip, then 2 strips, then 1 strip, then 2 strips, and then it all comes down into the hole there. And right below it, we have a little piece with guy wire. This setup is from BOSCOYO Studios. It comes with the guy wire, the top ring, and the little thing to hold the guy wire on it. And it's a really good setup. It's only like, I think, $30 to $60. I'm not sure the exact price. So I'll leave a link to it in the description. BOSCOYO Studios did not sponsor this video. The guy wire comes down, and this is the main guy wire right here that holds everything. It comes down here. This guy wire holds it up, because if we didn't have this, it would fall forward because it's on unlevel ground. So if you move the caution tape, there's a stake that you can just barely see. It goes really deep into the ground because this is very soft and muddy ground. So that's the main guy wire there. And then you have the other 2 that come out through the front. They come through the strips. These ones aren't being used as much because, like I said, it's the back one because it tries to lean forward. That one's also got a stake in there. And then the final one over here has a stake. And then I also put a piece of strip across the middle. It keeps all the lights from moving too much, and it holds them better. If I had more strip, I probably would put 2 more, 1 at the middle and 1 at the top, but I didn't, so I just put the 1 there. Now, we had a problem when we set this up. What we did was attach all the strips up there, the wires to the star, everything, the guy wires. We had to pull down, and then it took 3 people, my mom, me, and my sister. We lifted it up into the hole. And I started tightening all these down, and I had to tighten them down pretty tight because these were sagging. But I tightened them down so tight that they actually made the ring right there start slipping. You couldn't see it, but after like a few hours or so, it started slipping, and my dad had to go up on a ladder. He hit it back up there with a hammer, and then we put a hose clamp underneath it. So I highly recommend, please put a hose clamp underneath that if you use this setup. And also we put one under the guide wire because that was slowly slipping too. So please use a hose clamp. So then we have the wires coming down from the star. There's a power injection wire and a data wire. They come down here, they're zip tied, and then into the box. There's not really much out here to show you more, except there's a power cord that comes to the box. It's plugged in right here, and you have the Ethernet thing. I really want to open the box for you, but I'm a little bit afraid with the snow, so I might come back to this if it stops snowing. So there is a lot of water up here because there was snow up here, but when this turns on and the lights are on, it gets really hot and it melted the snow, I think. So if anyone has any ideas on how to keep this waterproof, can you please leave a comment, because I need to figure out how to get this to stay waterproof. And then you have the 6 ports coming down here. This is just a few. They come over here with all the power injection. Then they also go over there. The star, I said, has the wire. And now if I did come back out and open the box, I'm going to play that clip right now for you. Okay, so I'm back out here. Really quickly, I'm just going to show you the box. It's still snowing hard out. I tried to wait, but it's only getting worse, so I'm just going to show you quickly because I only have today to make the video. This is what it looks like inside. You have 2 differential receivers down here and a fuse board back there. You have a power supply back there. I'm just going to hold it here and freeze the frame and shut it now, and I'll talk about it while it's stuck on that frame. So basically, you have the differential receivers. There's 2 of them. The data comes into the first one. It goes to the second one. I have the lights on all of the ports. The tree is on 4 ports on one and 2 ports on the other. The star is on its own. There is 1 open port left. And the only other thing is the fuse board up there. So the power supply is a HP 100 amp power supply. It can only do, I think, 79 amps when it's 120 volts. But when you have 240 volts connected to it, you can use up to 100 amps. I'm only using, I think, 40 amps on it, so that's plenty enough big. And it has, I bought a board from Wizard of Wire, also not a sponsor. It's a board that plugs into it right there, and it gives you 4 positive, 4 negative terminals with 20 amp fuses, and then 2 positive, 2 negative terminals with 5 amp fuses. I used 2 of the 20 amp ones to go to the differential receivers, and then the other 2 to go to the fuse board right here, which then has all the power injections wires plugged up into it, and it has fuses on that too, and I think those are 7.5 amp fuses. So that's everything out here. Okay, so that was just the clip that I played of me showing you the box. Hopefully you liked all the insides. And now I'm going to go show you the rest of the display. So now the next thing that I'm just going to quickly show you is the arches. Those were the same as the Halloween video. But basically we have a wire coming down here. We have stones on them so we know where it is because it's a brown wire, so it blends in really well. It comes over here into this first arch. This arch is from BOSCOYO. It has black stuff on it. And then it's mounted with a piece of PVC pipe and zip ties onto these boards. And then it goes into the second one, comes out from there into a data booster, to the fence, and then to just the fence line, not the snowflakes. I'll show you that in a second. It then goes through all of the fence, not the snowflakes. It doesn't even touch the snowflakes. And then it comes to the end right here, comes out of there, over to here. This doesn't need a data booster. Into this arch, out of that arch, into this arch, and then you have a power injection wire at the end right here. And this arch is staked because of the way the legs are. It wiggles a lot. This was our old design from last year, so we had to come up with a new design, and that's those ones over there. They stay better. This one doesn't, so that's staked. And then you have some wires coming down here that go to the snowflakes. So the first one is the data wire. The snowflakes run on 1 port. These snowflakes are from Gilbert Engineering, and they were actually donated to me, so thank you to the person that donated them to me. I'm not going to say his name if he wants to be protected for privacy reasons. But I'll just say, if he's watching this, thank you very much. All these together take 696 pixels, so a lot of power injection on one port. It comes in this snowflake, then to that one, then to that one, then to that one, then to that one. Now the snowflakes look really nice at night. I have them zip tied to the fence with these extra long zip ties. I have a video of me putting together this type of them. I'll put that up in the on the link up here. You can see how I punched that together by following the exercise diagram. And then in the back, the power injection wire comes straight down here. And then that one has no power injection, but it comes into this one. And we made this wire, so the power injection comes up to here into this wire, then into this power injection T from Wired Watts, not a sponsor, into here. So it power injects this one, then the power injection wire continues down there. No power injection in this one. You then have power injection into this one, and it comes out of the power injection wire right there into the T, and then it finally comes in and power injects at the end of this one. And this is all off of the same power supply, so no wires had to be cut at all. So I'm very desperate to get this video done, so I had to plug my phone in right here to the plug because it's just about to die and I just want to get this done. This is the projector box. I'm not going to open it because it's snowing and I don't want to get anything inside damage. But this is the front. This is the same one I had last year in the video, so it's basically the same. We have a Raspberry Pi right there. It has an Ethernet cable which comes out under here under these cones with a power wire and an Ethernet wire. There's also a fan in there to keep everything from fogging up, because this will fog up. And then the projector would sit in there, and there's an HDMI port or an HDMI cable that would plug into there. But I don't have it in there during the day, so it keeps the projector from getting wet. And if you want more details about it, I have a little more information on the last year's behind the scenes, which you could see right there, so you can look at that. And then on the back I have hinges up here, and then little locks. There's a lock right here, and then you just use these to open it, to open the back, and then a bolt on this one. So this is the projector box, and I think that is it for the entire light show.